Very good morning to you, Chris Parry. Thanks so much for talking to us. Tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing there. You're there helping people, getting injured people out, as I understand it, but explain exactly what you're doing.
So I'm working with a group of volunteers who've been volunteering since the annexation of Crimea in 2014. So very experienced, some local volunteers. And basically we get requests to evacuate people from the most newly liberated villages on the east a few days beforehand, usually from family who have fled to the west, saying, my mum and dad, my grandma, or whoever is in this village and we think it's going to be retaken soon. Can you please go and get them out? They have had no word from them because, of course, it's been occupied by Russia. So we go in and basically, as soon as the military in the previous village say, yeah, you're good to go, we then go into the village, which essentially is now the new front. And we just run around, banging on doors, trying to find anyone. Because, of course, everyone's hiding out in their basements. And eventually we'll find somebody who then said, oh, yeah, Bob's over there. We then go to his basement, hopefully try and persuade him with a video of this relative. And then they'll come out with us to kind of the local town where we put them in hospital, where they're fed. They've got a warm bed, shelter finally for the first time since, I think, the most recent village. They were taken by the Russians on the 3rd of March. So they've been living in basements since then.
Well, yes, and give us more on that reaction that you get from those relatives when you first approach them. How are people feeling? They must be very frightened.
Yeah, so we're very fortunate that we are working with Ukrainians, but sometimes when we haven't got a translator or a local with us, things are a lot more difficult because, of course, I don't speak the language and I'm just a foreign person saying, come with us in English, which they don't speak. So they're very sceptical and quite afraid. We've had people basically say, sorry, we don't want to come with you because they're terrified we're going to take them into the woods and shoot them because they think we could be Russian because they have no idea what has been happening in the outside world because they've just been locked in this little bubble of this village with no outside comms, no Ukrainians there to talk to them or soldiers or anything. So they've just been sat in their basement for 7 or 8 months with no outside information. So suddenly when a van appears saying, get in the van, we're taking you to safety, would they believe us normally? Probably not.
Yeah, so that is tough. And tell us a little bit more about where you take them. Do you take them out of the country or do you take them to hospitals still within Ukraine?
So our group kind of specializes in little runs to the front. So we will basically drive an hour from here in Kramatorsk to the frontline villages, take them basically out to a nearby town, which is they've set up a hospice, which is now converted into sort of a refugee center for these people who have had to leave all of their belongings. And we take them there, and then they have kind of nurses there who look after them for a few weeks whilst they kind of sort their lives out.
As I understand it, your job is a running coach in Cheltenham. So how are you finding it there in Ukraine? You talk about going to the front line, the new front line. That must be extremely dangerous. How are you handling it?
I don't know. I think maybe I'm a bit of an odd one, but I kind of take each day as it comes. Sometimes when you see some pretty terrible things, it does stay with you. For example, seeing kind of the burnt-out corpse of a mother who we were evacuating. It was supposed to be evacuating her and her daughter, but unfortunately, the day before we arrived, their house was hit. So the daughter, very sadly burnt to death, and the mother was like a ghost. So that does stick with you. But in the moment, you've got a job. You're in a position of care. As soon as you pick these people up, you've got to just get out and get away from sort of the artillery or the drones, which is kind of constantly going off around us. So because of the intensity in the moment, it's fine. But it's kind of when you get back and you start to think, oh, that was kind of close. That was only 100 meters away from us. And that's when you kind of think, okay, maybe my luck might run out, but it's worth it to save these people, I think.
And in the meantime, you're trying to raise money, aren't you, for a new vehicle? Tell us a bit about that and why you need it.
Yeah, so in the summer, it was kind of fine going around in the van because the roads, they're not roads, they're just like tractor trails, but it's okay because it's hard. Whereas now, you might be able to hear it's torrential rain and all the tanks going up and down on these tractor trails. It's just a quagmire. So I've been getting stuck quite recently, and with the winter coming, with the snow and the ice, this van just won't be able to get to the places anymore. And as the Russians are pushed back in this area, the roads are only going to deteriorate. So we're trying to fundraise for a 4x4 so that we can actually keep the work through the winter, because for these people, the winter is the hardest time because it's hitting like -15, -20. Even at the moment, it's starting to go below zero. And just us trying to find these houses, we're getting pretty chilly, let alone being sat in a basement for months and months.
OK, and you've got a GoFundMe page for that, haven't you? Well, Chris Parry, thanks so much for talking to us this morning. Good luck with your work and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much.